Thank you for your flexibility.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for everyone for being here at our download day, for unpacking the totality of this value proposition, and sitting in the seats that we sit, seeing Recursion the way we see it. You are all Recursionauts for a day. I'm Mike Secora, CFO of Recursion, and I'm happy to be talking to you about our company, how we run this company, and the milestones that we have coming in the near term. A lot today you have heard about the what Recursion does and the why we do it. The what being the objectives, the goals that we have achieved and those that we are looking to achieve, and the why being the impact that we want to have on patients' lives. And I want to chat with you now about the how. How does Recursion operate? At Recursion, we believe that our culture and our people are key to driving value. And key to this message, key to this thinking is the Recursion mission: decoding biology to radically improve lives. And when I think about those 6 words, what I see in those 6 words is the ethos of a TechBio company. It is about the invocation of technology to understand a complex system, biology, to do what? With that understanding, find insight. With that insight, translate programs. With those programs, bring potential medicines to patients and have impact on society. I see what we do as one of the great scientific and societal challenges of our time. Now, in service to that mission are the Recursion principles and the Recursion values. These principles are the mindsets that we adopt for ourselves and our teams and how we try to organize around our work. These principles are explore the uncharted, create virtuous cycles. You've seen that many times today. You've heard John talk about that today. Build connected data, industrialize to scale, optimize for the portfolio, and challenge assumptions. If we think about the values, these are the behaviors that we want to adopt for ourselves, that we want to model for ourselves, for our teammates. And as you look around, you see these words written on the very walls. Together, these principles and these values, you have seen in all of the content, the state of the company, the OS, the preclinical, the partnerships, the state of the industry, the clinical. These principles and values are reflected again and again. And it is in these principles and in these values that we want to drive the mission forward and have tremendous impact in patients' lives. Chris, Najat, others have talked about the fundamental ingredients for a TechBio company. Of course there is data. Of course there is compute. But people. People are the essential ingredient here. At Recursion, we have over 500 employees. Approximately 40% are technologists, data scientists, machine learning scientists, automation engineers. Approximately 35% are life scientists, biologists, chemists, folks in clinical development. And approximately 25% are strategic operations. When I look at the demographic of Recursion, approximately equal parts of life science and technology, I see these two worlds of technology and life science coming together, creating a unique culture. And that is something that we strive to have here at this headquarters and in the other locations that we have, such as in the San Francisco Bay Area, our office in Toronto, our office in Montreal, and our new office in London, where we are finding great talent, all in service to the Recursion mission. Throughout the day, you have heard us talk about the Recursion Operating System, the Recursion OS. And that OS is the process for how we conduct drug discovery and development, where we move an insight into validation, into optimization, translation, and onto the clinic. When we think about our operating model, how we organize ourselves, we want to organize ourselves in line with our work, that very drug discovery process. And in so doing, we become part of the process. We industrialize ourselves as we industrialize that drug discovery process. At Recursion, there are 4 primary groups of how we organize our work. There is the inception valence groups, which de-risks novel capabilities to expand the Recursion OS to a point of a minimum viable product. You can think about this group as operating in a way that we're creating new 0 to 1 shifts in technology. There is the OS group, where we are developing, deploying, and improving the platform and workflows that make up the Recursion OS that you heard about today. You can think about this group as then taking that one solution to a many solution and scaling it repeatably so. From there, there is the value group, which translates data and insights into value for our patients, our partners, investors, and other stakeholders. You heard from Matt about the business model that we have, how we are translating insights across the three primary axes for how we drive value across our pipeline, our partnerships, and our data. And lastly is the accelerator group, where we are driving company-wide efficiencies and paving the way for achieving the Recursion mission. Here, this group is finding efficiencies within each hub, between each hub, and across all of the hubs. Throughout today, you have heard a good bit about the milestones that we have coming in the near term. I want to now summarize all of these for you across the pipeline, the partnerships, and the platform. Earlier today, you heard from Laura, from Dave, as they unpack the pipeline in the context of the preclinical and the clinical programs that are coming. We have 7 clinical trial readouts expected in 18 months. I don't care if you want to style yourself as TechBio, biotech, or some other name. I see that as an extraordinary amount of data that's coming. I'm very excited about that. With respect to the pipeline, for cerebral cavernous malformation, we have a phase 2 readout expected in September of this year. For neurofibromatosis type 2, we have a phase 2 safety preliminary efficacy study expected Q4 of this year. For familial adenomatous polyposis, we have a phase 2 safety preliminary efficacy study expected first half of next year. For our Axon 1 APC mutant cancer program, we recently, in Q1, had our phase 2 FPI, and we expect to have safety preliminary efficacy data also first half of next year. Lastly, on the phase 2 side, we have our program in C. difficile infection, where we expect a phase 2 initiation Q4 of this year with a preliminary readout expected by year-end next year. That's 5 phase 2 readouts that we have coming. Behind those 5 phase 2 readouts, we have our program for HR proficient cancers. This is our target RBM39 program, where we expect an IND submission Q3, so next quarter this year, with a phase 1/2 initiation expected in Q4 of this year, with phase 1 dose escalation data by end of next year. Also, there is our target Epsilon program. This is our novel target in fibrotic disease, where we expect an IND to be submitted early next year with phase 1 healthy volunteer data by end of next year. Those are the 7 clinical readouts that we have coming in a year and a half. And behind all of this are dozens of internal and partner programs in early stages, with our first LLM and causal model-driven programs now entering the clinic that you heard from Laura. Now let's talk about some of the partnerships and some of the platform milestones. You heard Matt talk about the partnerships and how we're advancing that work. On the Roche Genentech side, last October, we had a validation program option exercised for our first validated hit series in oncology, and there's the potential for program and map options in the near or very near terms. With respect to Bayer, we have already delivered multiple oncology data packages, and we are on track to complete 25 data packages in Q3 of this year, so next quarter. We've already initiated and are advancing our first joint program towards the lead series nomination, and there is the potential for near-term program options. As we've heard here today from a number of speakers, we are happy that Bayer has agreed to be our first beta user of LOW for this partnership to do drug discovery and development together. With respect to our partnerships in Tempus and Helix, here we are building large-scale causal AI models to generate target hypotheses across cancer as well as other disease areas, and we are already starting to explore novel targets related to non-small cell lung cancer. Behind all of this, there is the potential for other additional partnerships in large intractable areas of biology. On our platform side, you've heard about all the great work that we're doing here from Lena. We're very excited to now have built our first genome-scale transcriptomics map, and now we start to move towards a multi-omic foundation model, as you saw that coupling between phenomics and transcriptomics. We also have been developing active learning, And you've seen how we have now been deploying that active learning to build maps, to enrich maps, not just in some of the cell types we already have, but in new cell types, in new kinds of omics. And we're looking forward to exploring this technique in other kinds of omics data, like proteomics, organoids, spheroids, and with automated synthesis. There's also the potential to make some of our data and tools available to pharma customers as other commercial users. And you've already heard how today Bayer is going to be our first beta user of Low going forward. As you think about all of the work, all the great work that's been putting into the Recursion Operating System to evolve it, what I see when I look at the Recursion OS, the three things that I see Recursion doing well. Recursion is very good at integrating a new technology, scaling that technology, automating that technology, doing it again, doing it again, doing it again. And as we continue to follow this approach, I see us continuously wading into autonomous discovery, and I see us operating this way from a strong financial position as we drive value across our pipeline, our partnerships, and our platform.